Hello students, Notebook welcomes you and takes you over to another chapter of Business Studies, Consumer Protection. In this part of the chapter, we will acquaint ourselves with the Consumer Protection Acts and consumer rights and responsibilities. Let's understand what is meant by consumer protection by the following case study. Shalini is the owner of Megawatt Electronics, the best electronic shopping store in Karol Bagh. To make her store acquire the first position, she endeavors to sell quality products to her customers. For this, she buys only those products from the company distributors which has ISI mark on them as per the Bureau of Indian Standard Act 1986. Shalini carefully reads the label, quantity and price of each and every product and also weighs and measures the products so that she can sell products of good quality and standard to her customers. She purchased few refrigerators from the distributor of Lava Company. After the delivery of the products, she figured out that the refrigerator was defective and also there was no ISI mark on it. As she was aware of the Consumer Protection Act 1986, she went to the distributor and asked for the replacement of the product, but the distributor refused to replace the product. As a fully informed and knowledgeable consumer, she knew about the Trademark Act 1991, so she threatened the shopkeeper that she will file a case against the distributor of Lava Company if he denies replacement of the defective refrigerator. Eventually, the distributor, out of fear, agreed to replace the defective refrigerator. Thus, the Consumer Protection Act safeguarded Shalini against anti-consumer trade practices followed by the distributor of Lava Company. Here, Shalini is the consumer of the product. In other words, she is generally a person who uses consumer goods or avails the service. Consumer protection means protecting the consumers like Shalini from the clutches of the fraud producers or sellers. Consumer Protection Act 1986, CPA 1986. Consumer Protection Act 1986 is one of the most important legislation in the area of consumer protection. This is an umbrella legislation that has widened the scope of seeking redressal of grievances and plights of consumers. In other words, the Consumer Protection Act ensures protection to the consumers in addition to and not in derogation of the provisions of any other law. Consumer is considered to be the king of the market. The Indian legal framework consists of a number of acts which, like warriors, provide protection to this king named consumer. These acts are Consumer Protection Act 1986, the Indian Contract Act 1872, the Sale of Goods Act 1930, the Essential Commodities Act 1955, the Agricultural Produce Grading and Marketing Act 1937, the Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954, the Standards of Weights and Measures Act 1976, the Trademarks Act 1999, the Competition Act 2002, the Bureau of Standards Act 1986. Now, let's discuss the legal protection that are given to the consumers. The Consumer Protection Act 1986 seeks to protect the interests of consumers like defective goods, unfair trade practices, deficient services, and other exploitations. It is a three-tier machinery: district forums, state commissions, national commission. Indian Contract Act 1872. The Act states the remedies available to parties in case of any breach of contract. The Sale of Goods Act 1930. The Act specifies some safeguards to the buyers of the goods in case the goods purchased do not comply with implied conditions or warranties. The Essential Commodities Act 1955. The Act endeavors to control production, distribution, and supply of essential commodities. It also checks inflationary trend in their prices. The Agricultural Produce Grading and Marketing Act 1937. The Act stipulates grade standards for agricultural commodities and livestock products. The quality mark assigned under this act is known as AgMark, an acronym for Agricultural Marketing. Prevention of Food Adulteration Act 1954. The provision of this act is to check adulteration of food products and to ensure its purity to maintain public health. The Standards of Weights and Measures Act 1976. The act aims to provide protection to consumers against any malpractice of under-measure or underweight. The Trademarks Act 1999. This act safeguards the consumers from the sellers who use fraudulent marks on certain products. The Competition Act 2002. The act aims at providing protection to the consumers from the practices adopted by the business enterprises which hamper competition in the market. The Bureau of Standards Act 1986. The Bureau has been set up under the Act which signified objectives: formulation of quality standard for goods, certification of such goods through BIS certification scheme, manufacturers to use ISI mark on the products after checking the quality standards of the goods. Grievance cell is to set up where consumers can file their complaints about quality products with ISI mark. Now, let's know the 6 consumer rights provided by the Consumer Protection Act. Right to safety. Consumer has a right to be protected against the goods which can be hazardous to health and life should use ISI marked electronic devices. Right to be informed. Consumer has the right to have complete information about the product he wants to buy before purchasing it. Right to choose. Consumer has a right to choose any product at competitive prices out of the available products as per his own choice. Right to be heard. Consumer has the right to file a complaint to be heard in case of disappointment or dissatisfaction with the goods. Use of grievance sale. Right to seek redressal. Consumer has the right to get relief in case the product is defective or lacks quality standards. He may be provided replacement of the defective or compensation for any loss. Various redressal forums are set up by the government at national, state, and district level. Right to consumer education. Consumer has the right to acquire information and knowledge throughout life. He should be informed of his rights and reliefs available to him in case of the product falling short of his expectations. A consumer should be aware of the following responsibilities. A consumer should be aware about the wide variety of goods and services available in the market so that a wise choice can be made. As Shalini chose Lava brand, a consumer should read the labels carefully to have complete information about prices, net weight, quantity, etc. A consumer should buy only standardized goods with quality assurance like ISI mark on electrical goods, FPO mark on food products, hallmark on jewelry, etc. A consumer should file a complaint in Consumer Forum in case of any default or defect in the quality of goods purchased. With this, we will now close this part of the chapter. See you soon in our next video lesson. Till then, Notebook bids you goodbye.